Hello and welcome to the F2 Challenge on Italian Stadia, round 15, the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. As you can see, our last round we scored a few points, getting us up into 16th place in the championship on 7 points, behind our teammate Dorian Boccaracci, who's just 9 points ahead of us. The next round, as already said, is at Monza, so let's see how well we do. Can we complete a top 10 finish once again?
Welcome everybody to the heart of Italian motor racing, Monza. We're here with Formula 2 for what ought to be an extravaganza of excitement and action. Let's head to the start line and get underway. Monza's emphasis on long, fast straights typically rewards a low drag setup, but teams using that could face some problems in these conditions. Watch out for Parabolica, possibly this track's most demanding corner. We may see cars struggling for grip there. I'm joined by a man who's had many a wet race, Davide Valsecchi. Just how challenging will these conditions be out there on track?
Delighted to be here, Alex. Even in this weather, nothing will be easy for them. We may have standing water, which means visibility will be a worry. They just need to stay clear of the white lines and curbs. That can cause you a real problem when it's so slippery.
We are nearly ready for the start of today's race, but in the meantime, let's take a look at the grid. Louis Delatraz lines up on pole position, and P2 goes to Nick de Vries, a strong showing from the Dutch driver. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Matsushita, Latifi, Luca Ghiotto, and Schumacher, Sete Camara, Mazepin, Correa, Dorian Boccaracci, Joe, Hubert, Tatiana Calderon, and Galeo, Ilott, King, Raghunathan, and Jack Aitken, Alesi, and Ralph Boschong completes the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Well, here we go, it's another wet race. We've had one in France earlier and that didn't go exactly to plan. And we're down in 18th place. This isn't going to be an easy race for us. Now normally, at Monza I'd be going all the way to maximum top speed, but I'm not going to be able to do that in the wet. I'm going to go for maximum downforce this time and just see how I can hang it around the outside of Parabolica, the Lesmos and the Ascari chicane to see what I can get. Let's go for maximum downforce, preset 1. Again, in this weather, none of my pit crew with an umbrella. It really is shocking. We've got a helmet on protecting our head. These guys must be getting absolutely soaked, so let's start the race and give them a chance to get inside into the dry. 5 lights are on and away we go. A decent start, but this is going to be possibly one of the toughest races of the challenge, and that's saying something. I can barely see, and already the car spinning off there. That was absolutely shocking. I think that was Galeo based on what I can see on the heads-up display there. Absolutely shocking to see even the AI struggling on this track. So despite overtaking Galeo, we are still in 18th position. You can see Alesi's got ahead of us, and I'm unable to get any speed down at all. Going through the Curva Grande into the second chicane. Boschong defends very well. This track seems to like throwing me into wet races at the moment. I did take part in another wet race at the Singapore track, which I think is our next race, and that didn't go too well for me either. I think there might have been a few issues where my controller was glitching. We're through and going down into the Ascari chicane, which is heavy braking. Obviously the F1 cars can go flat out through this now. It's absolutely incredible to watch them. we're unable to do that much at all through there. I was really hoping for a decent qualifying, but obviously the random qualifier on this doesn't like me at all. It's not giving me that many, even top 10s, let alone decent qualifyings. We're struggling to keep the car in a straight line to take it out of the pit stops. The car wanting to turn into the pit garages here. You can see it's so tricky to keep it afloat. Doing 19th, and Galil, the guy who spun around at the start, has gone into the pits. Presumably he took a lot of damage. I'm shocked he's still going. Once again, even on maximum downforce, we are unable to go flat with Curva Grande in this weather, just showing what the limits of the grip on this car actually are. Slightly offline from the first Lesmo, and it's got a slowing down so much just to keep it in a straight line. The AI definitely have something on us in these wet conditions. We saw it in France, and it looks like 19th could be the best we can get here. Nearly a minute ahead of good water. You can see the fastest lap time falling down to a 1:53. We're not going to be troubling that at all, I don't think. That's slightly better about Parabolica, and it takes us to a 1:55 for our first flying lap, which, considering our troubles on Lesmos, I don't think was too bad. Unfortunately, it means we are plenty of time behind our nearest rival Boschon. And again, it's we had a slam on the brakes.
Front wing damage, but not enough to justify a stop in the remaining laps.
Spin it around and get it back onto the straight. That is the perils of Monza in the wet. And Sebastian Vettel won his first race in the wet in what was a Toro Rosso at the time. Now it's become even harder as we've got very little downforce. Now, just coasting it through the Lesmos and easy on the power coming out. Coast it through the apex, and yes, even with that I have to back off the throttle. And Mick Schumacher on a 1:43. Schumacher's always fast in the wet. Remember those great drives his father had on his way to winning 7 world championships. That was a much better run through the Escaut chicane, which is what we need. We need to prove we can race at the moment. My skills in the wet are obviously not up to scratch. Easing on the power. A good drive out of Parabolica gives us what I think was a very decent final sector, all things considered. We're suffering a lot of lost downforce after that crash on the previous lap. And we'll see how much downforce we've actually lost as we go through Curva Grande again. And I'm going to back right off this time. We stay on, it's a lot more controlled, but I bet you that is massively slower compared to what we should be doing. Compared to what our rivals are doing further up. Through Lesmo, coasting, and in full power into second Lesmo, braking, coasting, and then smooth on the power. Want to be buttery smooth. Feathering the fossil through the Ascaris chicane seems to be paying off. We are about to record our fastest lap. You see the right hand side of the screen there, we've got 2 green sectors, which are our personal bests. I'm not sure that actually means
The gap
much.
behind us is 15.0 seconds.
That takes us to a 150, but you saw the fastest laps were being set at 143, so we're 7 seconds off the pedal. Now some of that will be the damage on our car, but not all of it, I suspect. Go through, I'm going to back off. Keep it. That was a lot better through Curva Grande. You see we're 1.5 seconds up on our previous lap already. We'll see what we can do in this final lap. And maybe we've learnt it a little bit too late. As Louis Delatraz comes through to take the win, we're not even finished with Lesmos. Past the DRS marker board, DRS not in use when it's wet, of course. We need as much downforce as we can get. At the end of the second sector, we are still 1.5 seconds up, which still puts us about 5 seconds below the fastest lap times. That's about as fast as I dare take the Ascaris chicane. On back straight, down to the parabolica, braking. A parabolica we seem to be able to get, although we're a little bit wider this time. Wouldn't be able to do that in the old days, of course. There was a lot of grabber up there as we cross the line.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
What's showing us as 18th and changes to 90. I have noticed that's a glitch recently. It's giving us an incorrect position.
So as they climb out of the car, the Carlin team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. And Davide Valsecchi, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Their biggest advantage was how well they seemed to manage their tire depth. There wasn't a lot of grip on there anyway, but it was even worse for the drivers if they couldn't keep the tires in the proper operating grip. Keeping the tires warm was what gave them the advantage today, and ultimately was a big factor in their win.
As we can see, it's time for the podium, and I can see the Carlin team underneath our commentary box going crazy as their driver walks out. It was a great win, and it means a great deal to this team. And now, Davide Valsecchi, let me ask you, who is your driver of the day?
Let's give it to Luis Deltras. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Well, that race didn't go to plan at all. You scroll down and see we're a minute off the pace. And it's a minute off over 5 laps. Our fastest lap, 47.8. There's no doubt our last lap. It's still 4 seconds off our nearest the next guy up, Ralph Boschop. And Sean Goodell does a 1:43.2, which is only a few hundredths off the fastest lap driven by Luca Ghiotto. Our teammate gets some points in 8th position. That's always good to see. As Mick Schumacher ends up losing positions, going from 6th on the grid to 7th. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to just go through the replay and see. So Goodell was in 14th. If I go through the replay, I might be able to see what happens. So this is 18th, 17th, 16th, 15th, 14th for Goodell. This is on board with somebody who spun out before even reaching the first chicane. Was he tapped? Or was it just absolutely impossible to keep control? Oh, he just gets a side slapper. Wow. And this is the AI doing it. This isn't my driving, this is the AI driving. As he tries to find a gap ahead of him to get past the car in front of him. He loses it, slams into the Renault. I think that might have been Ghiotto, I'm not sure. As he tries to correct it, he's now sideways in the track. The rear background there, about to slam into him. And there we go, that's us now, the orange car. And shockingly, we don't get that much damage out of it, but look at the damage that Sean's ended up with. That front wing absolutely ruined. There's no wonder he came into the pits afterwards. Strong recovery from him. The last position, we just beat him by a few seconds in the end, and he was given a 2-second penalty, which, looking at that, it was kind of his fault. There you go. And he eventually recovers. It was a shocking start for him. We didn't fare much better really, but there you go. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you can join us for the next one on the F2 Challenge.